I'm Renee Caputo, the ESL Specialist for Duke University's Thompson Writing Program. We're going to take a look at the digital resource Academic Phrasebank, created by John Morley of the University of Manchester. Morley collected phrases from dissertations and journal articles to create this resource, which is designed to support academic writers with possible phrases to adapt for their writing. On the home page, you can read more about the Academic Phrasebank as well as about John Morley. At the top of the page, we can see these different sections that correspond to sections of a typical research paper. Let's take a look at introducing work. At the top of the page is an overview of some of the typical moves that writers tend to do in their introductions for academic work. And then we have these different subsections with phrases. The first several are about establishing the importance of the topic. Let's open the subsection on time frame given. So you can see some sample phrases here, and you can also notice that they get longer as you go down in the list. We have at the beginning, recently there has been renewed interest in, and recently researchers have shown an increased interest in. Those are both relatively short and fairly commonly used in research papers or journal articles. Let's scroll down more here. Here we have stating the purpose of the current research. The specific objective of the study was to. That sounds pretty straightforward, and let's look a little bit further down. The objectives of this research are to determine whether, and here we're getting longer, this dissertation aims to unravel some of the mysteries surrounding. For me, that sounds really different from the other examples I've shared from this resource so far. It sounds a bit poetic, unravel some of the mysteries surrounding. So what you want to ask yourself is, does that sound like my writing? Or would someone notice that and wonder who wrote it? This is something to consider with any phrase you're reading from the Academic Phrasebank. You want to adapt it to fit your specific meaning and context. You also want to adapt it so that it sounds like your style of writing. As we continue down, we have some models here that all open with this study set out to, and then we have from one verb explore to longer verb phrases. Let's go back to the top of the page and take a look at referring to sources. We have the overview at the top, and here we have a note. In the majority of the examples given here, the Harvard in-text referencing system has been used. You, of course, would want to check with your professor or teaching assistant, or look at the guidelines for a particular journal to see which reference or citation style you are being asked to use. Continuing down here, let's open reference to another writer's idea or position. At the top, we have a couple of possible phrases to consider adapting. And then we have some model kinds of sentences here. We have Smith, 2013, argues, claims, suggests, maintains, concludes, points out that, and then some possible ending to a sentence. So here we have a nice selection of what are sometimes called reporting verbs. Let's scroll down more and open some ways of introducing quotations. Again, some samples at the top here, and then some model sentences. As Smith notes, argues, writes, observes, points out, and reminds us. Notice here, for the part that's sharing some quoted information, there's a single quotation mark at the left and the right. That's because this resource was created by the University of Manchester in the United Kingdom. If your audience consisted primarily of readers from the United States, you would want those quotation marks to be double quotation marks. Now let's go back to the top and look at the left column here. These are what Morley calls general language functions. The phrases that are listed here could be used in various parts of a paper or an article. I'm going to open being cautious. Again, a short overview is provided at the top. And here we have being cautious when giving explanations. Model sentences again with some nice language for when you want to soften, which is sometimes called hedging, your language. Maybe, could be, might be, are almost certainly, possible, probable, and likely. Let's continue down and look at these examples from devices for avoiding overgeneralization. Again, some phrases here, and then some language in these models. Often, generally, frequently, sometimes, occasionally, not always, etc. These phrases can be helpful when you're trying to make sure that your writing does not say or imply the idea of always, everywhere, everyone, or everything. Let's go look at the column on the left again and signaling transition and reintroducing a topic. So you've already talked about a topic in your text and you're going to discuss it again. We have as discussed above, as explained earlier, as previously stated. So these phrases can be helpful when you are doing that move in your writing. So remember, within Academic Phrasebank, here we have the sections of a typical research paper and the language that would often be used there. And in the left column, we have language that is more general and could be used in different parts of your paper or article. That's an overview of the support Academic Phrasebank offers you. Remember, whenever you're using phrases from this resource, that you want to adapt them to fit your precise meaning and to be well incorporated with the style of your writing. I hope you'll find that the Academic Phrasebank facilitates your academic writing.